Welcome back to the Bad Pipes podcast. My name is Andrew Weaver, the host of said podcast, and with me today is my co-host, my glorious cohort, my little buddy, Scott Kelly.
Kelly.
How are you today?
Fine.
How are you doing?
Doing all right.
How are you feeling?
Feeling okay.
How do you feel about me leaving behind my other wise tree, or the two wise trees introduction?
It was time. It was time to let it die.
The past is dead. Let it die.
Barbie's no longer in trend. It's no longer trending.
Yeah. Barbie's done.
Barbie is done.
All right, so top of the news. I have an admission. I am 0 days clean of playing Magic the Gathering. I've been playing Magic. I've been playing Arena, and I've got a couple of comments on Arena.
Did the new set come out? Is it because Eldraine came out?
Honestly, I just wanted something to do with my hands while I was like listening to podcasts and things at the computer.
Fair.
And most of the things I usually play are a little more involved, so I just want something kind of mindless. But It is also Eldraine, and I did like Eldraine the first time it came out, but I can't run my same deck, and that annoys me.
Yeah, I was going to say, I remember you and I were throwing down... Well, that was during lockdown, was original Eldraine, and I think you and I were both running mono red.
Oh, yeah.
Little Embercleave jank.
I used to call it Ember Brute was the name of my deck, because it was Embercleave with a... what the heck is his name? It's like Ginger Brute, I think. Little artifact creature that's basically a gingerbread cookie.
Yeah, it's Ginger Brute.
And you can pay like 1 mana to make him only blockable by creatures with haste.
Creatures with haste, yeah.
Yeah.
And then you throw like Torbrand in there so you get like extra red damage.
Yeah, or on the other side of that, you run... it was like Cavalcade of Calamity, so like red creatures that attack, I think that have power 1 or less.
Mm-hmm.
Cavalcade deals 1 damage to the opponent they're attacking.
Yeah.
So you'd run that with like Torbrand, and you'd be hitting them for like 15 damage on 5 1/1 creatures attacking. And if that 5 damage goes through, then boom, 20 damage in 1 turn.
Yeah.
So
no, that's it's funny you bring up Magic. I was going to add this into the news segment, but I thought we might as well not. Have you seen the classic horror cards that they're releasing for like, I think it's like Secret Lair drops?
No, but I've got no interest in the...
Yeah, I figured
alt art stuff is just like money down the drain, basically.
I've been clean from Magic since I moved here. Since I moved to the Midwest. I have not played.
So I have a couple of comments on like getting back into it. First off, the MTG Arena updating launcher crap is fucking terrible. Yeah. It had like 7 gigs of updates for me, right? Which is almost nothing. It took it about 2.5 hours for it to update and re-verify the files like every fucking 15 minutes, it felt like.
Jeez.
Terrible. I don't know if that's just a me issue or...
Yeah,
I remember in the past when I was trying to update it, it also took way longer than it should have. So I think that's an issue with the launcher.
Yeah.
On the other side of that, getting back in after having not played for like 2 years, trying to build decks is miserable because you've got like no cards. There's not like, you don't have like a set block of like commons that you can use or anything like that. So you're literally having to like build up from the ground up.
Yeah, it's pretty rough.
Yeah, it sucks.
Have you used like the fucking set promo codes and shit to get like your free like 5 packs from each set?
I don't think so.
You should
probably
do that.
Try to dig up codes somewhere.
Yeah,
I remember doing that last time I was playing.
Yeah, you just look them up and then because it helps you. Those packs count towards your wild cards. They can help you just like buy the cards you need to build your decks.
Yep. Because I built out like a whole deck because I do have a bunch of wild cards and things banked up, but I didn't have like the ones I needed for the deck I was trying to build. Because I was just trying to play like a red-white kind of aggro. Because I feel like maybe it's just Arena, maybe it's Magic in general, but the only thing that's fun for me to play is like be top decking by turn 4 or 5, or I'm not having fun.
Yeah, 100%.
Like you want your combo pieces out there, and you just want to be like ending the game at that point.
Yeah.
And then trying to play just like normal standard best of 1 games, you end up running into these guys that are running like full mythic decks, and you're like, how is this fair?
Yeah. For real.
Yeah. Same issues as I feel like I've always encountered on Arena, though. Sometimes we get just like one aggressively toxic player who'll be like spamming good game at like turn 3, and so you just like mute them or something. But
dude, every time.
Other than that, it
never ends.
Yeah. I just try to like, I don't know. The games I enjoy are the ones where it's like I'm running mono green, the other guy's running mono red, and one of us wins at like turn 5, because then you just get into the next game.
Yeah, exactly.
All these fucking blue players. Cons.
Yeah.
All right. Other news, big news, cool news, I guess. The writer's strike ended.
It did. The writer's strike is over. They've reached an agreement. I believe it involved kind of everything the writers wanted. I think they're getting like multiple raises, so they get like a raise every year. It starts at 5%, I believe, coming the next year. Then it like tiers down to like 3 and then like 2. I can't remember. So they get like multiple raises over the next couple of years. I think they have better terms as far as residuals from streaming included.
Another nice thing that was in there was that the original writer of the script has first rights to edit the script based off of the notes they get back from the first time they submit it.
Yeah.
Because what had been happening, I guess, was that they would submit a script, then whoever did the editing of it based on the notes, if they edited enough of the script, they would actually get the writer credit for the script.
Yeah. Basically just cheat around. Basically they just get to plagiarize.
Yeah.
Which was wild.
Speaking of plagiarism, you also cannot... no AI allowed whatsoever in the creation of scripts.
Yeah, I did see that. So yeah, I did see that they were going to allow. So basically, the studios can't require or request writers to use AI or even use AI themselves for the script. However, writers are allowed to, with the studio's approval, they're allowed to use AI to assist them in script writing.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how that plays out in the next couple months, because right now there's a big lawsuit between I think ChatGPT and George R.R. Martin, a bunch, like 17 other, like a coalition of writers basically, all suing ChatGPT.
Shit.
So that'll be interesting to see how the AI discussion plays out over the next 6 months or so.
Definitely. Yeah.
An update to one of our stories from last week. Johnny Somali got arrested.
Yes.
Are you intimately familiar with the details of why he was arrested?
Yeah, so he had recorded, it was a previous video from what I understand, he had recorded himself trespassing on a work site, wearing a mask and like trying to scare workers who like didn't want any part of his shit. And so... Did
you watch the video? I watched the video.
Of him like trespassing on the work site?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw a clip of it. So I saw him like walking in there, and then like the workers being like, "Go," like telling him to leave.
Yeah, because he's going onto a construction site, and then whenever he get like the foreman or whoever it is that's yelling at him is like, "Get out, go." He's like, "I'm trying to work. I'm trying to work." And it's just him being a fucking ding dong like always. Yeah. Even in America, trespassing on a construction site is a felony.
Yeah.
So I think the last time I saw was that he's looking at possibly 3 years in a Japanese prison.
Yeah, I heard, from what I understand, like as far as like Japanese like being arrested in Japan, they can effectively now this is just something I'd heard, is they can detain you without cause, effectively for up to 30 days.
Yeah, so without charging you, they can detain you.
They can just detain you for up to 30 days without charging you.
In the U.S., I think you need to be charged for like anything more than an overnight stay.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's wild. But no, I think fuck him. He deserved it.
Justice is being served, boys.
No, 100%. So no, I mean, hopefully they charge him, and I mean, spending 3 years in prison, I think would fit, or just deporting is. I mean, I
would rather see him.
I'd rather see him in prison. Yeah, because you're not going to be able to stream. You're losing your career as a streamer. Like it's. Yep. I think it's what you deserve. You fucked around too much, and you're definitely finding out.
Yeah.
So
next piece of news: David S. Goyer, who has written a couple of things for Warner Brothers, Batman Begins, and Man of Steel, and more.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, basically came out in an article and talked about how the DC EU had no plan. It was higher ups in Warner Brothers being like, we've got a plan for 20 movies for the next 10 years.
Yeah, they basically were just so heavily chasing after their own Marvel Cinematic Universe using DC that they just were like, they were just spitballing and had no substance or writings to support what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, 100% it sounds like they were just trying to grab onto the coattails of Marvel and write it up. And, didn't work.
Nope.
Especially because they didn't hop on until Marvel started coming down.
Exactly, yeah. And I was going to say, I have never really had any interest in any of the DC Cinematic Universe at all. Like, I don't know. I've watched the Batman movies. Like the new one with Robert Pattinson was actually decent. I did enjoy that. But like I don't even think I saw Man of Steel. I haven't seen any of the Justice League movies.
I don't think I've seen any of them in theaters. I know that I saw the first Wonder Woman in a hotel while I was out of town one time.
You know what? I think I did watch the first Wonder Woman at home. Just like streamed it. That was it.
Yeah. Watched the Snyder cut just because everyone was getting all hype about it. And 2 hours in, Shelby and I took like a 30-minute break because it was just so fucking boring.
Yeah. I didn't even watch that.
I don't know. Like, everyone in that movie needed to have their own movie before they made that movie. And 100%. They did not do that.
Yeah. They tried to do... They basically did the opposite of what Marvel fucking did.
Yeah. Yeah, they tried to have their Avengers movie and then give everyone their own movie so then they could make an Avengers movie. And it was just bad from the get-go. So, yeah. Studio accused of having no plan reveals they had no plan.
Yeah, effectively.
Little link there, though. There are rumors that Bob Iger, in particular, himself, has canceled the Mangold and Waititi Star Wars projects. Not surprising whenever James Mangold had a big old debacle with the production, or I guess the reception of Dial of Destiny. Mm-hmm. And Waititi's most recent Disney movie being foo-fooed as nonsense and directionless garbage. The two of them losing Star Wars movies just makes sense to me, especially the way that Lucasfilm in the past has been like, oh, we've got this bright, starry-eyed young guy or a couple of guys and we're going to make a movie with them, and then the second something doesn't work out with them, they just completely drop them. They either drop them or the entire project. You saw that with what are their actual names? I always call them Dingleberry and Ding Dong from Game of Thrones.
It's Weiss and is it Weiss? It's the D guys.
Yeah.
God, what?
Anyway, they were supposed to do a whole trilogy of movies, and their shit got dropped as soon as the ending of Game of Thrones happened.
David Benioff and DB Weiss. Those guys. Yeah, they were idiots.
Kind of funny though, because the James Mangold movie was supposed to take 25,000 years, take place 25,000 years before the first Star Wars movie, and it was supposed to be about the origin of the Jedi. Now, David S. Goyer, who you might have remembered from the other story we were just talking about, being the one who, in an article, talked about the DCEU having DCCU.
Yeah, I think it was just DCU, right?
Whatever. The DC cinematic universe, having no plan. He wrote a script. This is coming from a Variety article from, I think, this past week. Goyer revealed that he started work on a second Star Wars project, a script treatment for an Origins of the Jedi movie that takes place 25,000 years before the first Star Wars film. While Goyer ultimately parted ways with Lucasfilm, a Jedi Origin movie, and this is outdated now, or possibly outdated now with these rumors of it getting canceled, but a Jedi Origin movie is now currently in development from Logan and Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny director James Mangold. That's supposed to be taking place 25,000 years before the first Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
Goyer was originally supposed to make a movie with Guillermo del Toro for Star Wars. So,
yeah.
Yeah, but there's rumors now that's been canceled. Probably for the best, in my opinion. It doesn't seem like Mangold can work with Lucasfilm very easily. Doesn't seem like anyone can really work with Lucasfilm very easily.
No.
Yeah, and I guess we'll talk more about that whenever we get to Ahsoka at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
But you got any more news, or can we get right back in round 2 of the cage match?
No, I'm good. That was all I got.
All right, so we, if we remember correctly, I don't know if we talked about this in the episode or not, but last week we said we were going to watch another 3 Nicolas Cage movies. These are all fairly recent ones. We've got Color Out of Space, Pig,
2019, 2022, or no, 2021,
and Willy's Wonderland,
also 2021.
Yeah. So we're gonna go in that order.
Yeah.
Color Out of Space is an adaptation of an H.P. Lovecraft story. Is this your first time watching this?
Yeah. Have you watched it before?
Yeah, I've seen it before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I didn't realize
I like classic science fiction, so years ago I did a read through of a bunch of Lovecraft stuff, and I don't think I ever read this story in particular because I got like 2/3 of the way through his complete works and then probably got sidetracked or something.
yeah.
But I will say that this is very Lovecraftian. It's atmospheric, it's suspenseful.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty clearly cosmic horror. It's very much like there's some shit going down that like the human mind can't really comprehend.
Yeah. Overall, I'd say the movie is a slow burn. And I think you see this reflected in the reviews for it because I don't think it's reviewed terribly well, and it's absolutely a movie that like won't satisfy a blockbuster crowd.
I was gonna say it has so from Rotten Tomatoes, it's got an 86 from critics and an 82 from audience.
Okay, so that's better than I thought it was.
However, that's a verified audience. All audience is 64.
Yeah, and that's pretty close to what IMDb has for it, which is 6.2 out of 10.
Yeah, I was gonna say critics are a little bit closer if you switch between. So all critics is an 86, top critics is an 84. So,
yeah. Then apparently Letterboxd has a 3.2 out of 5 for it, which is in line with that 6.4.
Yeah.
72% of Google users like this movie, if that means anything to you.
Not really.
Oh, dude. I might make you watch Reanimator next. We might watch the two of those.
All right.
Yeah, because next week will be our first episode in October, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we gotta watch horror movies this month.
Okay, that's fair. I know. We were talking about doing Spielberg, but
yeah,
we can switch up and do horror.
Yeah,
we can save Spielberg for November.
Yeah.
And then December we'll do holiday movies.
Yeah, or something just off the wall, like David Lynch or something.
Yeah.
No, back to the topic at hand. Color Out of Space. What did you think about it?
So yeah, it definitely was a slow burn. I was watching it and I was kind of like, okay, this is moving real slow. I think it didn't really hit, or I didn't feel the pace really pick up until the mom and I think it's Jack, the younger son, they get hit with the fucking energy beam from the barn. And then they fuse together and you're just like, fuck.
Yeah.
It's fucking like after that, shit really, I think, starts going off the wall.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, you have at the beginning, it starts out with the introductions to everyone, and then obviously the meteorite hits, and then you do notice stuff starts going, but I think the slow burn kind of works for this because I that's one thing I definitely noticed was Nick Cage's character, how his demeanor and his mental state slowly was on a decline to where he was just getting very much he was more on edge, angrier, and just kind of snapping a lot quicker.
Yeah. And there's that implication that he's being possessed by the spirit of his father, kind of.
Yeah.
And yeah, what else did you think about his performance? Because I think out of everything that you would say oh, this was really cheesy in this movie, you might just point at Nicolas Cage's depiction of his character being kind of possessed by his father.
Yeah, I didn't really find it too cheesy. All too much. I don't know. I kind of liked his performance, I think, for the most part.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I felt like he did a pretty good job depicting a descent into that kind of madness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, I didn't really have any issues with it. I feel like everyone did a pretty decent job as far as acting goes.
Yeah. I thought the mom was good.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of times people have issues with child actors, but the kid who plays Jack was fine.
Creepy. Yeah. He did a good job being a creepy little kid. So I feel like that was kind of his job, was just be this ominous kid staring at the well.
Yeah. Lavinia being the teenage daughter who's obsessed with the occult kind of stuff makes sense. Benny, the teenage son.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like nothing wrong with his portrayal.
Yeah.
The guy who plays the narrator, Ward Phillips, Elliot Knight is his actor's name. I thought he was very good.
Yeah, he actually, I think, was my favorite character in all of this.
Yeah. Which makes sense because it's technically all from his point of view. Like, he's the narrator in the beginning and the end. And his perspective on it is kind of like what puts it all into context.
He's really the only dude going around being like, hey, you guys should, like, not drink the water, like, really be around here.
Yeah.
I did like Tommy Chong as Ezra.
Yeah. Yeah.
So just threw him in there.
And he plays that, like, out there kind of spaced out dude very well. So
yeah.
Like,
he's definitely
perfect for him.
The kind of hermit hippie stoner guy.
Yeah. Drinking the fucking brown water, dude.
Yeah. You know what I didn't realize is that just like Mandy, Elijah Wood is
Elijah Wood was a producer on this?
Yeah.
Oh man.
He's just putting out some bangers, you know?
I mean, it makes sense because there's a lot of lines or a lot of comparisons you can make between this and Mandy. There's a lot of, like, interesting visual things going on. There's like a lot of homage to I mean, the homage in Mandy is to, like, metal and metal visuals and that kind of stuff, whereas the homage to this is to the source material, right? Like, it's very respectful to the source material, despite the more commonplace reception or views on Lovecraft nowadays. Like, Lavinia has the Necronomicon. Anyone who isn't familiar with that, like, the Necronomicon comes from Lovecraftian mythos, as well as, like, a lot of the body horror type stuff, like you were talking about earlier, the mom and the Jack getting, like, merged together into this what do you call that? Not a conglomeration. What is the word for that? This amalgamation of body parts, basically. As well as, like, the alpacas at one point, or Sam at the bottom of the well. There's a lot of, like, I mean, you can make comparisons to The Thing in that. Like, it's very reminiscent of The Thing. But obviously, like, without the like 80s action kind of payoff at the end. This is definitely more of, like, a dramatic suspense kind of movie. I'm not even sure I would necessarily call it, like, straight up horror. I guess there are aspects of it that are horrible or horrorful. But yeah, like, I think that this movie really captures the essence of, like, Lovecraftian horror. That idea that, like, death or destruction aren't the worst things that can happen to a person, but, like, that
it's like the unknown.
Well, it's like usurping fundamental Christian ideas, right? Like, rebirth in the image of an abominable god, right? Madness, knowledge that cannot be contained in the human mind, like that kind of stuff. So I think that this is a very good homage to, like, Lovecraft, because a lot of the time the Lovecraftian stories, they're not, like, action set piece movies, you know? They're stories of, like you said before, a descent into madness. Even if you read, like, the first Cthulhu story, just on, like, witnessing this elder being, half of the ship's crew goes insane. Half of them, like, die instantly, and, like, the one guy that gets out alive is, like, forever scarred by the knowledge of the experience. Which is kind of what happens in this. Like, Ward is forever scarred by this experience, and
I was gonna say,
destroyed everyone else's.
They have that scene where he looks into Lavinia's eyes, and he, like, he basically, I don't know, like, projects into this, like hellscape or, like, alien landscape, like, that he sees.
Extra dimensional kind of space, really. Yeah,
and then, like, kind of is blasted back from it, and I definitely got the Lovecraftian feel of like this is something that's like the human mind can't really comprehend like what you're seeing.
Yeah. And then like the whole story just being framed around like this wasn't even necessarily a being with like malice or malefic intent, right?
Mm-hmm.
But this was just a color out of space, and it was a piece of knowledge that man was never meant to have, and it fundamentally destroys and reshapes the reality around it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think? Did you enjoy this one?
Yeah, I liked it. It wasn't like crazy good. It wasn't like the best movie I've seen. I'd probably give it a 7.
Yeah.
Like it's solid. It's solid to see.
Give it like a 7.5 probably, just because I appreciate a movie that isn't dismissive of its source material.
Yeah.
But it feels like it really tries to pay homage to its source material.
Nice, yeah.
Like something you could kind of bring up in comparison to this was that, what was it, Lovecraft Country? I don't know if you ever tried to watch that. I think it's on HBO. Or whatever HBO is now. But it feels like the whole show is like a black cast, and they're bringing in all this like Lovecraftian stuff, and they also make a lot of commentaries on like H.P. Lovecraft, because the dude was notoriously racist. Just putting it out there. Sometimes it came into his writing. It didn't always come into his writing. But the guy was also born in like 1890 something, if I remember right. Like, not to dismiss it, but the guy was born in a rural place and he moved to a city and had like stomach cancer and took drugs for most of his life. Like, he had a terrible life, and for him to have terrible opinions kind of makes sense.
Yeah. He was very much a product of his time.
Yeah. That said, Elliot Knight, I hesitate to say African American because I have a feeling like he might be British, but black guy, as maybe not the main character. I think you could probably argue the family are more of like an ensemble of the main character, but Elliot Knight, I think, was one of the standout performances in this movie, and I'd be interested to see other things he's in. Yeah,
no, he was my favorite character in the movie. Looking here, that's only his second ever movie.
Surprising.
He was in Billionaire Ransom, which was apparently a terrible movie from 2016. So three years prior to this, he was in a movie that got a 20 from critics and a 27 from the audience. He is going to be in an upcoming movie called Your Lucky Day, which is a horror / mystery and thriller movie.
Interesting.
Currently has a 100% from critics, although I guess it seems like it's early because there's no audience score. I don't even know. I don't see a date when this is dropping. But so far, 6 critic reviews give it 100%.
Wow.
So
hope they didn't buy them.
Yeah.
Let's move on. Pig. Was this your first time watching Pig?
It is. Was it your first time? It was also
my first time watching Pig.
Okay.
Did you cry?
No.
I cried a couple times.
I definitely.
I'm a soft old man.
I definitely had a couple moments where I started tearing up.
Yeah.
No, it's a very emotional movie.
Maybe that's a more appropriate way of saying it. Yeah, I definitely teared up a couple times.
Yeah.
I wasn't sobbing or anything, but
yeah, definitely
I'm a
an
big
emotional
tough guy,
movie.
guys.
Yeah. No, there's some movies that'll get me.
Just anything with animals, man.
I was gonna say, have you seen The Art of Racing in the Rain?
No.
That fucking movie gets me. I sobbed, but also because like it's a movie about a golden retriever who is just trying to live his best life because he loves watching TV, and he saw a documentary that said the Mongolians believed like if you lived your life as a good dog, you got reincarnated as a human, and he wanted to be a human because he loves his humans so much. Fucking God, that movie gets me.
Man,
that's a rough movie.
Yeah, and
it was great.
You
Fantastic
have a retriever,
movie.
so I feel like there are certain
retriever.
movies that I just can't go back and watch because I know they'll fucking destroy me. Like My Dog Skip.
Yeah.
If I watch that, I'd probably be like ruined by it because I've only ever had Jack Russells. And,
yeah.
In the first act, right? Because this is a 3-act movie. You do have a question for a moment, like, is this John Wick if John Wick was about a chef?
It's funny. I literally sat here and I like, so like you're in the first act, and like, dude's living with the pig. He loves his pig.
Yeah.
And you see his pig get stolen. I go, oh shit! Is this about to be a John Wick movie where instead of like these people coming to kill his dog and him getting revenge, he goes to find his pig?
There is something more horrific about the screams of this pig being abducted than like any abduction scene I've ever seen in any other movie.
Yeah, it was pretty heartbreaking. Like, I'm like, damn, that like, that would if I was our boy Rob, Mr. Robin Feld.
Robin Feld.
Hearing the screams of that pig I love so dear, I would 100% go John Wick on those tweakers and anyone else who was involved. But that's not the story we get here.
Yeah, just a final little comment in that vein was this movie made me tell my dog that I loved her, and then she turned around and sniffed her own butt, and I was so upset that she didn't take me seriously.
Love that.
Yeah, I think I would describe this movie as a compelling character drama about a man and his pig, I think was how I was initially describing it, or describing it to myself in the first act. But it becomes like a poignant commentary on like grief and suffering.
Yeah. That's definitely what I got, because I will say like
this movie hurt to watch.
Yeah. It was very gripping. Like, it definitely kept me engaged with like some of the weird scenes, like he's just kind of going on this hunt, and then you get to towards the end, and you get more into those themes of grief and like how these different these people from all kinds of different walks of life are dealing with loss, and trying to get by.
I think it used to be a more common sentiment, but most recently, I've seen old videos of Tolkien in particular saying that all art is about death. And this movie is absolutely, to use a pig metaphor, wallowing in those themes and ideas.
No, for sure.
Because you have your main character, Rob, and it's revealed at some point that he basically gave up this high-profile life as a chef in Portland, I think, so that he could go out and live in the woods, a simple life away from the frivolities of the world, because his wife has died. And that idea of grief robbing you of your passion is very strong. That is absolutely something that happens when you're going through something heavy. Some people lean into their passions. Some people it becomes like ash, I've definitely been on both sides of that.
Yeah.
It's a very strong movie, I would say.
Yeah. It's God, yeah. I mean,
did you have like a scene that you felt like, which scene do you think you're going to be thinking about from this movie as like one of the more meaningful scenes that you carry with you for the rest of your life?
I want to say when he goes to, is it Eurydice, where he goes to find the chef who cooked for him, or like basically worked for him for, what do you say, 2 weeks, 2 months?
2 months, yeah.
2 months, and he's sitting there and he's talking to the chef, and the chef, who's like built this high-end restaurant, and he just like, you can see in the chef's eyes, I feel like he gets it. Like Robin is just telling him, like, when you worked for me, like you had this dream, like you wanted to do this thing, and he's like,
and the backdrop of all that is that this restaurant is like a high concept, very pretentious sort of thing that you see.
Yeah, it's your small portion. Yeah, like beautiful plating, sort of.
What was the dish they had? It was like a fucking egg, or no, it was like a deconstructed oyster with like pine fir smoke or something.
Yeah, it was
like
a deconstructed scallop.
Yeah,
I believe it was, and it's basically like, I think they're sitting there, and I think it's only one plate between the two of them, and you just see Robin like pick it up and just like eat this small morsel of a thing,
like mashing his thumb into the other half of it.
Yeah, but I think that really sat with me, because it was kind of like, he really kind of woke this guy up to be like, you had this dream, you had these ambitions, and you sold out to do this thing. He's like, it doesn't fucking matter.
The way they frame this scene, right, is that whenever he recognizes him, he sits down with him, brings up this bottle of some, pretentious wine or something, and they have that conversation, like you said. I fired you after 2 months because you always overcook the pasta, right?
Yeah.
But then it goes on from that, from him looking at like this just top-down chef that's like, that like concept of chefs where it's like they're high-strung anal people, but then they polish it out, right? Because it becomes a conversation about, whenever I fired you, I had a conversation with you where I asked you what your dream was, and it was to open a pub. Why didn't you do that? Like, if that's your dream, that's your passion, that's the thing you want to center your life around, right? And all of that is coming from a position of grief, and him looking back in retrospect on his wife, who you get through all of these little dialogues and scenes throughout the movie, not just in this scene, but you get him struggling through that grief still, because clearly he was passionate about like cooking and things, but at the end of the day, his one true love was his wife.
Yeah.
That he built this life with and around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was Lori.
Yeah. Lorelei.
Yeah. I think it was that scene, and then the other one, I think right at the end, where I think I caught on pretty quick to what his plan was here with Amir's father, where he you could tell Robin kind of remembered the meal that he served Amir's parents in that story he told. And then he just
moly. On the cast page for this, the pig has a name.
Yeah, it's I think I looked it up because I was trying to look at what kind of pig it was.
Played by Brandy the pig.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Brandy the pig. Damn, I don't think it shows up on Rotten Tomatoes.
There's no image, but I'm just on like Google.
Yeah. I believe I remember
whenever you
that.
click on the cast page is a Variety article about She's a Diva, how Nicolas Cage's Pig co-star Brandy went from farmyards to feature films. With her thick auburn hair, striking eyes, and sleek physique, it's no surprise Nicolas Cage's latest co-star Brandy landed her first ever acting role without so much as an audition.
Yeah.
The pig didn't even have to audition.
I love that.
That's funny.
No.
Yeah. Back to the business at hand, though. I don't know. I think I'd give this movie like an 8.
Yeah. No, I'd give it an 8.
Like, it's pretty good, but I just think it could have been paced a little better.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It definitely is another slow burn of a movie.
Yeah.
Just obviously, like, I feel like with Color Out of Space, it was a slow burn into like a climactic end,
yeah,
where like a lot was going on.
Yeah.
Versus like this was a slow burn all the way through to like a pretty satisfying ending, I'd say.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, heartbreaking, but yeah.
Yeah, no, it definitely leaves you with like this like longing feeling.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, but yeah, I'd say like an 8, maybe like 8.25, 8 and a quarter.
I was gonna give it an 8.
Yeah, fair. Which will now bring us to Willy's Wonderland.
Wonderland. So this is a movie that's basically based off of Five Nights at Freddy's.
It is 100%. I'm pretty sure that they just said, hey, we're just going to rip off this game franchise.
They're probably like, hey, can we make a movie based off of this? Can you give us like the rights to make a Five Nights at Freddy's movie? And then they went, no. So
I don't know if you're aware, but there is a Five Nights at Freddy's movie coming out.
Yeah, it's got the kid from the Hunger Games.
Yeah. I don't know if it's already out or if it's getting ready to come out. Oh yeah, it releases right before Halloween. It releases October 27th. So if you'd like to do that one during our horror movie October.
I guess if I have money to go see a movie in theaters.
Oh, is it coming out in theaters? I thought it was just releasing.
Theaters?
I thought it was just releasing on somewhere. I have no idea. Oh yeah, it's Blumhouse. Oh yeah, Josh Hutcherson, the dude from Hunger Games.
So IMDb, I think, is saying it will arrive in theaters and on Peacock in October 2023.
So just watch on Peacock.
Yeah.
Matthew Lillard's in it.
Oh, nice.
Sweet.
Yeah, I guess we can compare that to this movie then.
Yeah, because this one, and I just want to say, I know how we talked about in Mandy, Nick Cage notoriously has very few lines, even having a scene with the chemist where he doesn't speak a single word and the chemist just answers for himself. That is this entire movie.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a single line of spoken dialogue from Nicolas Cage's character.
I love that. I love that they just had him. He just didn't speak a single time, and then I'm sitting here questioning because I'm just like, he's just doing his thing. He's just trying to get by. Obviously, like he blows a tire. He has the whole
blows all 4 tires because
blows all 4 tires,
like
a spike trap.
A spike trap, yeah.
Yeah. Which is obviously we find out later is an actual trap laid by the citizens of this small town in order to sacrifice people to the animatronics.
Yeah, if you want the entire breakdown of this movie in one sentence, it's a movie about Nicolas Cage cleaning a restaurant and killing satanic animatronics, and some teenagers show up.
Yeah.
Or maybe young 20-year-olds.
Yeah, something around there. Yeah, I'm just like, we get no dialogue from him, And sometimes you're questioning, like, what is he up to? Because he's just got this watch that beeps every so often, and he literally just, like, takes a break.
To take breaks often.
Oh, that's fair. Okay, so that's what it was. That makes more sense. I thought there was, like, I'm sitting there, and he's doing that, and he always drinks one of those fucking, like, energy drinks or sodas or whatever they are.
I think it was just grape soda.
Yeah, because I was trying to figure out, I'm just like, he's on these things.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He's trying to avoid that diabetic coma or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or trying to induce one? I don't know. I don't know how diabetes works.
Neither do I.
Don't at me. Yeah, looking through the cast here, I don't see anyone else I recognize in this movie.
No, it's literally Nick Cage. Nick Cage and a whole bunch of low-budget actors. I'm pretty sure they probably got a discount because Nick Cage didn't have to deliver a single line.
I mean, the budget for this movie was $5 million.
Damn.
Guess what the box office for it was?
What?
Well, it came out February 12th, 2021, so...
Still kind of like...
$457,000.
Oh my god. Sounds about right.
Yeah, I mean... Going through the Google page for it, IMDb 5.5 out of 10, 61% on Rotten Tomatoes, 2.6 out of 5 on Letterboxd. 81% of Google users like this movie.
I love that. No, it's also really funny to me because, like, so it's very apparent Nick Cage's character in this is just a no nonsense. Like, he's just here to get his car fixed and get the fuck out.
Yeah.
He was just passing through. But it's so funny to me because he comes in here and he just starts cleaning. The animatronics start coming alive and attacking him, and he doesn't bat a fucking eye. He just starts beating the shit out of these animatronics.
Yeah, ripping the fucking throat out of the first one, and
yeah. He's just like
the gorilla, which I started laughing because I was like, of all the things to curb stomp, why the gorilla?
Yeah. No, I'm just like, he is acting like this is just another day. Like he's used to it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought it was funny.
His character name on the cast thing here is just the janitor.
Yeah, he's just the janitor.
Whenever Shelby and I were watching it, I was like, if they don't at the end of the movie tell you that his backstory is just like being a professional janitor or something like that, I'm gonna be like so mad. And they don't give you any backstory for the dude. He just shows up and, like, video game protagonist, doesn't say a single word, just starts fucking killing animatronics when they come alive, and then he fucking drives away at the end.
Drives away with the main girl.
Yeah. Not even necessarily like zero relation to her either. Like, not like a father-daughter kind of thing going on. Not like a
he was actually
thing going on.
He was actually not very helpful to her and her friends. the one where they're fighting the toad, and his watch goes off, and he's like, "Yep, got time for a break." He just hands her the fucking like knife.
The knife he took from her, he gives back to her.
He gives back to her. He goes and plays pinball and drinks his soda while she has to fight this fucking toad. And I'm just like...
And then his break's over, so he comes back and kills it.
No, and he kind of just lets all these other kids die. I'm like... My other thing is, like, okay, you get attacked by one or two of these animatronics. Are you not, like, before the other ones start moving, are you not just going to start taking them out? I would have just been ripping their throats out before they even move a muscle.
Well, here's the thing. Like, what if you start doing that, and then it aggroes all of them? You know, we're playing by video game rules. Maybe you only aggro one at a time, and so you take them out one at a time. But if you do the pro gamer strat and just try to kill them while they're all in not suspense, what's the word?
Standby.
Yeah, something like that. What if that just activates all of them and they all go aggro?
That's a fair assessment.
Yeah, I mean, this movie's just it's an absurd romp. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Just lowbrow, dumb fun. I don't know. That's pretty much all my thoughts on it. There's really not much to say because it's not much of a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was still like, I still got entertainment out of it. I still sat here and I went, this is kind of funny in a ridiculous way.
Yeah, this is like this is absurd, and I'll laugh at it for this like first time I watch it, but I'm probably never gonna watch this again.
No, definitely not. It was almost like they tried to make a satire on Five Nights at Freddy's. They were like, how can we make the most ridiculous? Because it's very similar. I mean, the only thing you know about the character you're playing in Five Nights at Freddy's is you're a security guard. So they went another step. They were just like, okay, we can't have it be a security guard. It's too close to Five Nights at Freddy's. He's a janitor.
Yeah, and they also don't have him like watching security cameras to see like them approaching certain rooms or anything like that.
Now, I don't know if you're aware, but the video game Five Nights at Freddy's and all the sequels and everything that they have, this does follow the lore behind that. I have heard about some of the lore. So I think there's a little bit more of a lore where like the whole like actual Five Nights at Freddy's is like the dude who is like Freddy Fazbear or whatever was actually like a child predator and was doing the same, like basically like preying on these children and killing them on top of it. So yeah, I think Five Nights at Freddy's is a little bit more sinister as far as the story goes, because it gets pretty deep. Obviously, they made video game after video game. They tried to continue to expand on the story.
Yeah, I mean they're making a fucking movie now, so
yeah. Hopefully the movie's decent, better than this. Hopefully.
Yeah. For me, I think I would give this a 5 out of 10. It's like on my lowest rung of recommended. Like watch it one time if if a movie about Nicolas Cage cleaning a restaurant and killing satanic animatronics appeals to you. Watch it in that case. Don't if that doesn't sound good to you, because you will not enjoy it.
Yeah. No, I will also give it a 5 out of 10 because it is very much just like right in the middle. Like it's not one of the worst movies I've ever seen. It's definitely not one of the best. It is a movie you can watch once and be like, I got entertainment. It was a stupid fucking movie that was kind of funny in ways. Yeah. That was it.
I feel like on my 1 to 10 scale, like 5 is my lowest for recommended, right?
Yeah, no, I would
anything
agree.
Lower than a 5 is a not recommended.
Just don't watch it. Like Future World.
Yeah, Future World was fucking terrible. Yeah. I guess that's it for the cage match.
That is. Nicolas Cage
us or
done.
Nicolas Cage? We did 6 rounds in the cage with Nicolas Cage.
Dude, I think Nicolas Cage won. How can he not? Dude is putting out banger after banger of movies.
I've come out of this feeling like Nicolas Cage is one of us. He's a guy that goes, haha, this is stupid, I'll do it. But then he'll also do like a really artistic film as well.
Yeah. It makes me, I want to watch more Nicolas Cage movies in my free time.
Yeah. I think that is one of the arguments people would probably levy against our little criticisms of Nicolas Cage movies here, is that we didn't go back and watch like classic Nick Cage films.
Oh, like Con Air, Face Off, or...
Yeah, like the farthest back we went, I think, was like Mandy, I think, with 2018, with the exception of Wicker Man from...
Yeah.
What,
yeah, we watched a lot of his newer stuff.
Yeah.
So... but no, maybe we'll, maybe sometime down the road, once we've done some other stuff, maybe we'll revive the cage match, do a little bit more, do some of his classic stuff.
Yeah, maybe if we have like a guaranteed guest, we'll force them to watch. We'll pick out we'll go on IMDb or Rotten Tomatoes or something. We'll find like the 3 lowest rated Nicolas Cage movies, and we will force our guests to watch them as well.
by critic or audience score.
Yeah, just whichever one we think is funnier when we pick them out. Fair.
He's got one from 93, which has a 0% from critics and a 25% from audience, called Deadfall. It did 9.2K in the box office.
Oh my god.
I don't even know. Did it even have a budget? What was its budget? I
Releasing
don't even
one
see.
theater?
Yeah, I have no fucking idea.
Ay.
Huh. Yeah.
I will say, just final little point about Willy's Wonderland.
Mm-hmm.
The girl who plays the hot girl.
Okay, the I guess floozy for a better word.
Yeah, the one with the short skirt that goes up the ladder, and they're like, "Hey, be respectful."
Yeah. Yeah. What about her?
She's hot.
Oh, fair. Fair. I don't even know who she is.
Appropriately enough for an absurd horror movie, they do have eye candy. Her name is Kaylee Cowan.
Oh, yep, here she is. Has she even been in anything else? She's been in a couple other things.
Sunrise in Heaven, Frank and Penelope, Bad Detectives, Incision, Spinning Gold. She was in a movie this year called Divinity, which looks kind of weird.
Interesting.
Bella Thorne was in it.
Oh, shit.
It's a science fiction thriller film written and directed by Eddie Alcazar and starring Scott Bakula, Stephen Dorff, Bella Thorne.
It has not released yet. It's releasing October 13th in the United States. It did premiere at Sundance in January, but yes, October 13th is the official release date.
Yeah, the art for it looks kind of like Hellraiser-y or I don't know. It's like black and white, old school VHS kind of cover looking.
Do we have any reviews for it already? It's got a 62 from 13 critic reviews on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, it's got a 5.9 on IMDb.
Yeah, so
which tells me it's hit or miss.
Yeah, it looks like it.
You'll like it or you won't like it.
Huh.
Now that I know you kind of like Lovecraftian movies, I kind of want to just like make a list of other movies that I know are in that vein. Mm-hmm. Force you to watch some of those.
Yeah. All right, on to Ahsoka.
Good old Super Ahsoka.
Episode 7.
How'd you feel about it?
I didn't like it.
Oh no.
As always.
We're haters.
We are haters.
We're the haters, dude.
Okay.
I really disliked this episode.
Yeah. Yeah, I was not into it at all. It was cheesy. Okay, one thing that really irked me, I want to point this out. I hate when she holds her lightsabers backwards. That is not an efficient fighting style.
Dude, I don't know why everything has to put the like under grip lightsaber thing in now. Or reverse grip or whatever people call it. Like
it's stupid and inefficient. The only time you
ever used a grip like that with a weapon was with a dagger. There are like fighting treatises on like dagger fighting, and it wasn't like every fighting style with daggers used that. It was actually a very rare kind of thing, and it typically only came into play with Rommel daggers, which are those daggers that have the big round crossguard, and usually they'll also have a big round pommel, because you use them typically while you were in full plate armor, and you'd have it in that reverse grip because it was for stabbing into the tight places in plate. And so your idea was like get in between the joints and like jam the fucker in there with both hands, right?
Yeah.
So you'd have like one hand on the handle and you'd use your other hand to like slam the pommel of the thing.
Yeah.
To apply like excess pressure.
Yeah. No, I think it's stupid. If you ever want to make a like Star Wars movie with me, or like a parody. I want our first lightsaber scene. First of all, we're gonna have some dismemberment.
Lightsaber battles, we're definitely going to change the fighting style. All right, it's not going to be based off of like samurai slashing styles.
Oh yeah,
it's going to be based off of fencing. No. All right,
but I want the first scene with a lightsaber in our movie to be an annoying ass character trying to use their lightsabers backwards like that, and they just immediately get their hand fucking chopped off.
Yeah, it'll be like a Jedi apprentice who's got like an annoyingly high pitched voice, and they'll be fighting a like the equivalent of like a Sith Knight, you know, so like a Jedi Knight, you know, someone who's been trained for a good long while.
Yeah,
but isn't like a master or an apprentice, but just like your
guy,
your Qui-Gon in the first in Phantom Menace, right?
Yeah.
He's called Master Qui-Gon, but he's a Jedi Knight. He doesn't sit on the council.
Nope.
So yeah, just like your rank and file Sith guy, just being like poke and they die.
Yeah. No, yeah. I would love, like, if we were to make a movie, just make a Star Wars movie, where effectively, like, we just poke fun at all the stupid shit that gets added into, like, the actual Star Wars movies.
Yeah. Well, the fucking shows nowadays, you know. God only knows if we'll ever see another Star Wars movie.
Fair, yeah. True. Yeah.
No, so without getting too into the details on this episode, I've seen that like a popular criticism of this show revolves around how like most of the better moments of it are these like empty member berries, as they get called. So like an example, last episode, Anakin showing up and like the training and stuff, that basically boiled down to like live or die, you know, and it's like, well, fucking live, obviously. Like anyone would make that choice.
Yeah.
And it's not like we'd seen Ahsoka being depicted as like being in depression or thinking that she shouldn't like fight for the right thing. Like that's how she's always been depicted. Her leaving the Jedi Order was like her doing what she thought was right, you know? Yeah. But also like this episode, we get another scene with Anakin where it's like a holo recording.
Yeah.
Fucking C-3PO shows up to Deus Ex Machina save Hera from a court-martial. The entire premise of the show is bringing back Thrawn, who's like a member berry for people who read the books in the 90s and really liked it, who might have watched Rebels and liked his character in Rebels. The whole show is just trying to use nostalgia as its like driving factor for success.
Yeah.
To get into that, like what Thrawn does in this episode is totally underwhelming. Like the show should have been 4 1-hour episodes, and they should have shown Thrawn as like a true threat, not like this sad old man without any real victories in the show. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. If you really want to fucking go there, just like kill Ezra off. They're not really doing anything with this character anyway.
Yeah, that was another thing that bothered me, was Ezra just being like, oh no, I just need the Force, and then like doing this wonky looking double-handed Force push on every opponent.
You didn't like the Force Kung Fu?
No, I thought it was stupid.
I thought they could have done it in a cool way, but the way they showed it here was not a cool way.
Yeah. No, they definitely could have done it in a cool way. But it felt like he was trying, like he was putting so much effort into it to get like the tiniest push on one of those night troopers.
A very good comparison for this would be the Tartakovsky Clone Wars, the 2D animated ones. The episode with Mace Windu, where he basically single-handedly takes on an entire droid army, and at one point loses his lightsaber and starts like Force Kung Fu punching holes in droids and things. was so much cooler than this depiction.
Yeah, that would have been great. That would have been really cool if they did that
into
here.
The sides of the caravans and stuff, you know.
Yeah. But no. They're sticking with lame and uninspired.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this just felt like a boring episode that relied on like references and moments that like aren't in this show.
Yeah.
You know.
No, I'm like we're sitting here trying to talk about it. And I'm like, I feel like I have nothing to even talk about because it felt like they didn't achieve anything. It felt like complete filler. Like they just sat here and
like this wasn't a victory for either side.
There was no substance.
The heroes reconnecting is like it just falls really flat.
Yeah.
Like the things that should introduce conflict into the relationships, they just ignore, right? Like I think Ezra asked a couple times, like, oh, like, how'd you get here? How am I getting home? Like, this kind of stuff. And the avoidance of, like, oh, yeah, I accidentally showed some bad guys a map to here, and then they made a giant hyperspace ring that brought them here. And, I left Ahsoka for dead on the planet, but she just showed up and saved us, so that's cool, too.
Yeah.
Like there is no development of the relationships in this show.
Nah.
And it's an 8-episode show. I just don't get what...
Yeah. No. Again, take out all the filler and just make a movie. It could have just been a movie.
Yeah. Yeah, but they also need to like set their villains up better, right?
Yeah.
Like, no one fucking cares about Thrawn at this point.
Nah.
He's got one haggard Star Destroyer that if he took into battle with the New Republic fleet, which we've seen depicted as like capable and fast, it got to Xenos very quickly after Ahsoka got there. The second he pops up, it'll be like, oh yeah, Republic response fleet, blam, 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 they're dead. Bye.
Yeah.
And then they forecast stuff so terribly, right? Like, oh, but how is Thrawn gonna get back to the fucking real galaxy? Oh, I wonder if he's gonna put his big Star Destroyer in that big hyperspace ring. No, they'd never do that. He'll probably just ride whales back to the real galaxy. Is that what they expect me to think? Or am I supposed to think that I'm like some smart viewer for it going, oh yeah, they're gonna park his fucking Star Destroyer in the ring and then blast off back to the real galaxy?
Yeah.
And then they're gonna be like, oh, in our precious cargo. Oh, what do you think the precious cargo is? I wonder if it's stuff that the Night Sisters can make undead stormtroopers.
Yeah.
I just feel like I'm beating my head against the wall trying to like find good things about this show to be excited about.
It's so trash, and the problem is so many of the normies are eating it up.
That's what I don't get. Like, I legitimately do not understand how you can watch this and not just be like bored out of your mind.
Because C-3PO, Ahsoka.
Like, even the exciting parts, right? When there's fights and stuff, the fight choreography is so slow and monotonous. Like, nothing new or exciting happens. It's like, oh, you got shot off the horse.
Yeah,
they like threw a rock and he fell off the horse.
When I was watching Ahsoka and Baylan fight, I was like, this is, again, another lightsaber duel that is just like... There's no excitement. Like I know we've talked about it before. Why can we not get some sort of duel like I don't know, Obi-Wan and Vader in A New Hope felt so much more exciting than any of the lightsaber duels we've been given in Ahsoka or any of these TV shows. I'm like, or you know, the Duel Fates.
Well, I even went back and I rewatched the scenes of Anakin and Ahsoka, like the training fights they were doing. And I was like, it really looks like Hayden Christensen is having to like slow himself down for this choreography. I don't know if it's just an issue where who is it that plays Ahsoka?
What's her name? Why can I not remember her name?
Rosario Dawson.
Rosario Dawson. Yeah.
I don't know if they just didn't give her enough like choreography time, or if they were like shooting this on a really tight time frame or something like that. But she absolutely needed more time to like get comfortable swinging these things around and like fighting, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Definitely.
I also wish that they would stop. Like in older action movies, if a woman was going to fight a man, she had to have like some sort of advantage for her to like lever against the dude. Like she either fights smarter or she's faster or something like that. Mm-hmm. And like none of that happens in this. It's just like, oh, I don't know. You look at a dude as big as Ray Stevenson, and when he like swings down on Rosario Dawson, she like blocks it. You're kind of like, I just don't believe it. Like, look how huge he looks. He's a freaking mountain of a man compared to her.
Yeah.
And I wish they would just, like, make their fights smarter or something. The same thing with the troops that show up on the transports. Why are they parking and all getting out? Why don't they fire from the side of the ship? Like we saw the clones doing in, like, Attack of the Clones. Mm-hmm. Like, even if you don't have, like, big fucking Vietnam miniguns out the side of the helicopter, like, surely 3 dudes can, like, take a knee and blam, 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 blam out the side of the freaking ship.
Yeah.
And if your ship's flying, like, what's the chance they... I don't know. Like, it's just dumb.
Yeah. Trash. As we wrap this up, I did want to say, I don't know if you've seen this. So someone was mentioning they're not sure if they're gonna put an end to Baylan, Baylan's character, since obviously rest in peace Ray Stevenson. Someone had mentioned if they don't like recasting him, and they did put the Ray Stevenson side by side with this actor, and they do quite favor each other. Where I could potentially see it. But people were saying Gerard Butler.
Maybe.
Especially with Gerard Butler's definitely graying now. He's a little bit older. They do their faces favor each other quite a bit. So I don't know. I just feel like that's not something that they usually would do. I feel like more so Baylan will, if they are going to continue on Ahsoka, Baylan will meet his end, or something will happen, and they'll have Shin take over as like the main villain.
There was Ray Stevenson was filming a movie in Italy whenever he died, and he was recast in that movie by Dominic Purcell.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't know if you know who he is. Doesn't really look like him, but, like, I don't know. I think if they just got, like, a big dude who was a good actor, it would still be good. So, like, I wouldn't be opposed to Gerard Butler. But how tall was... Yeah, Ray Stevenson was 6'3". Let's look at Gerard here. He's 6'2". Yeah, that'd probably work.
Who did you say they got to replace Ray Stevenson in this other movie?
Dominic Purcell. It's Dominic. He's a dude you would recognize. He's an Australian guy.
Oh, he's from Prison Break and like all those other movies.
Yeah. Yeah, he was also in Blade Trinity. I think he played like the first vampire or something.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't remember what else
no,
he's
he
in.
was
But I know he's
in
from
Blade
Prison
Trinity.
Break.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Just like a big dude who can hold a scene.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, so far, Ahsoka. I mean, yeah, Ahsoka's just trash. I don't like it. The only highlight of Ahsoka, Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
I told Nolan, I think, that you call her General Cake, and he laughed at that.
Dude, I mean, when you see it, it's like, damn.
Oof. Actually, some other show I was watching, like some reviewers or whatever, the girls on the panel were like, yeah, her pants are working for her.
Yeah, no, 100%. Well, and after you revealed that she's with my boy, Ewan McGregor, I'm just like, yeah, makes sense.
Oh, yeah. All right. Well, that brings us to the end of the show. All you good boys and girls out there,
thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. If you want to support us, you can do that at patreon.com/Bad Pipes Podcast. We got a couple of tiers on there, and we're generally working out what should be on each tier, so feel free to yell at us.
Throw us a follow on the X, formerly known as Twitter app, at Bad Pipes Pod.
Next week, at the very least, we'll be watching The Reanimator. We'll probably figure out maybe one or two other like cheesy horror movies to watch.
Yeah.
As always, our music was by Carl Casey at White Bat Audio. Give him a check out. Or look at.
Check him out. Give
him a check out or look at him. Look at the sounds he makes.
Yeah.
Okay, good night. I love you.